So I'm to blame for these. All of these poems I'm going to share were written within the last year and a half, when Eric and I were meeting masked. I confess we took off our masks when we ate the baked treats that Ann sent with him to my office when we walked over. So, next week's last words. One can bear being a poet for only so long. When I was 10, Pop said, "It'll never pay the bills." Neither does drinking Old Crow, but I didn't say that. Do something else, he said. The rough draft of my suicide note in high school blamed Walt Whitman for all the atoms, odors, and moving parts I feared I'd never discover. I would never smell sex and hay at the same time. My English teacher, schooled by Jesuits, as others say, raised by wolves, chastised me. "I've taught you better poets to die for than that crude ruffian. Why not Donne or Keats?" I've died for several poets since Frost took a chainsaw to me. And my freshman year at college, Shakespeare ran me through with a bloody sword and read love sonnets to me. Baudelaire poisoned me several times the year I studied in France. And whether or not you share my taste, every time I read Mary Oliver, I am left for dead in the woods. Now I plan to end this struggle because of 3 poems by Philip Levine, which I could never write, not even to keep him company in the dusty grave he inhabits near Malaga. Hard-nosed Detroit factory poet with words under his fingernails, putting my efforts to shame. It's not really Levine's fault. I blame my friend Eric. I had just read a few of my poems to him when he opened Levine's book and said, "Listen to these." He read 3 poems, touched my heart with his voice that had grown reedier and graver. Then he left the book behind, as if after all these years I am prepared to bear the weight of disappointment in my own words. And still, the goddamn bills have not been paid. They cannot imagine. I know I am dying as I slip in and out of awareness. I hear their voices hushed as if they are keeping a secret from me. They've always been poor communicators, too much about what doesn't matter, hesitant to say what is real and necessary. Words are useless at the shore of the river Styx, the fragile craft of artful conversation foundering between roiled mud and open water. Now I swim. Checking my breathing, they would never guess what I think of moving in the water between life and death is her ass. The smoothly rounded hills I caress and brush with my beard, gently part to find her pink brown bud blooming like a rose in paler flesh. She bathes with care, knows I enjoy her earthy scent. Kiss her there, darting my tongue until I feel her rock, hear her breath quicken to a shudder, until I reach the other shore. My mama, shades. During Mama's final visit to Oregon, she mostly ran out of things to say. We walked the misty trail at Silver Falls. She held my hand for balance, pausing often as if enjoying a view, a graceful way to catch her breath. She smiled at me each time, moved closer until our shoulders touched, squeezing my hand more tightly. She seemed to concentrate on something, looking for the words that were hiding. I can't believe how many shades of green there are, she repeated each time we stopped. Next 3 poems involve my good friend Yes. What Yes says goes. Yes, the magical bear says nature is cool beans, a cat's pajamas, a great blue heron on a log standing beside itself, reflected in the smooth surface of the lake. Its hen teeth and a bald eagle soaring, then diving at the river like an arrow. But the eagle is its own bowstring. Nature is 23 skidoo and a bushy squirrel dashing along the trail before darting between rocks with its acorn. Bob's your uncle, or the stained glass shard of a salmon cutting through clear rushing water, shattering the sun. Rounding his forelegs and paws like the circle of towering trees we stand within, Yes whispers, this is our quiet place, our own Notre Dame de Paris. Explorers, we share a passport of joy. Walking to a point. This morning, Yes, the magical bear's bell rang out sharp and clear as a blue winter sky. The only warmth was our motion, the engines of our hearts. It's a crapshoot. The 5-mile walk to the post office relieves despair sometimes because of what is or is not waiting in our mailbox. Occasionally, despair itself is the package that waits. Today, there's nothing, and we turn back empty-handed, glad we actually enjoy walking. On our way home, we watched by the park a man in an orange jacket and his large dog. They walked behind a tree that was not large enough to hide them, but never came out the other side. One would have expected the dog's nose to appear to the right as its tail vanished on the left. That's very odd, said Yes. By the side of the muddy road, we found a weeping patchwork elephant the size of a cantaloupe wearing glasses with no lenses. We shall take him home, said Yes. Ooh, Bible studies. What the bear heard. A man, his arms covered in blue prison tattoos, crosses and chains, pulling a wheeled suitcase, greets us on the river path and asks, "Can I touch the bear's bell?" That and the small clay heart sent to Yes by a dear friend visiting Mexico. "May I have a blessing?" he asked, and Yes blessed him. And the man made a slight bow before explaining, "I'm a very spiritual man, but I may need to kill my own flesh and blood." And he growled, "I believe in the old testicle, an eye for an eye." He spoke of fire and brimstone, tooth for tooth, angry that his family had refused to pay his bail and left him in jail. So I'll probably have to kill one of them. Yes, agreed. Fire on one's testicles would probably make a person pretty angry, mean, and wrathful. The stranger thanked us for listening, for not running away as if he were crazy, and Yes blessed him again. As we walked on, Yes confided, "I think I'm more a new testicle bear. Less pain, more forgiveness, more love and grace. That's just how I roll." Still adrift. I slipped into sleep and memory, drifting in my kayak, paddle across my heart, rocked by breeze and lake in the sun. I hear her playful teasing laughter, the sun like a halo around her face, washes over her shoulders and breasts. She lowers herself to my open mouth. The damp rose between her thighs is petaled with curls of soft dark hair. Like that, like that, like that. Still she whispers to my eagerness, "What? Do you really imagine when their minds are free to drift, old men dream about their first car, a favorite dog, or career success? Years ago, I gave up and gave in to concerns of others, a safe life, a responsible and long life. I trusted what others said. To protect my career, I quit alcohol and drugs. I traded my motorcycle for our family van. Appeasing fears about the dangers, I gave away my chainsaw. I accepted treatment for prostate cancer. It left me impotent. Doctors promised I'd enjoy the extra time this bought. In my 70s, I discovered kayaking. A lifetime of choices and compromises, I drift between gratitude and regret. Glad to be alive, I never agreed to forget her. Salty, rocking waves on the tongue of desire. The Sistine Chapel. Even lying on his back, Mike did amazing things with paint. He had his way with the blues. Most artists envy his greens. My favorite color, the red herring that snaps my eyes upward. Sure, in the creation of Adam, Eve is speaking to Murray from under God's rubble grove. The nuns never explained that. But we're clearly meant to focus on the two burly dudes, ripped from their celestial workout, pumping stars and thinking big. Two curly-haired loungers acting like creations all in a day's work, or 6 days and a kickback Sunday. We are distracted by the boy band and their choirs of angels, misled by beefy abs, bushy beards, and the earnest countenance of divinity. But look only at the hands reaching, how they stretch out, try to touch finger to finger. Creation occurs in desire. The tiny seed perfectly placed in the soil, the bee buzzing the blossom's lips. At the point of connection, we are animated and divine. Kayaking on Lake Wohing, where the wind cuts across the exposed water before an outcropping of land, offers a quiet surface. One paddles hard, struggling for balance, like trying to catch the drift of love. No one expects it to be easy, but we hope for the best or we would never try. On the east side of the lake, a small inlet reaches among trees crowding the water. We who dream of love call it Monet's garden and paddle gently, as if approaching a lover. Shiny, wet lily pads part as the kayak pushes in, then close around it. As the prow passes, small ripples disappear in the open lake. What we hope we find on the moon. We surrender our titles when we meet in the fabrications of sleep, or walk with the dead beside the endless river of stars. There's no reason to stand on ceremony. Jack Kennedy and I weep together in a dream about what we imagine we will find on the other side of the moon. I wake only to find myself, an old man. Astronauts do not bring back our hopes and dreams, do not bring home the sun or even the moon, only rocks and dust, not even clay from which to mold better men. Jack admits he has seen Marilyn's tits, that even in constant pain, he believed they were a hopeful sign. But he said, I did not see Vietnam coming. Cities burning with hate or dogs attacking helpless children, Collapsed towers ripping open the sky to admit wars that killed for decades. I did not see Jackie covered in my blood. Jack, I say, we all hope for more on the far side of the moon. No one saw the bullet coming that shattered the dream that set the trajectory of events to follow. The day Jack was suddenly erased, I was a high school kid painting green and gold signs for a pep rally that night, imagining our earnest cheering would go on forever. I don't remember if we won that football game or if I touched a pom-pom girl's breast. But I do remember draft numbers pulled like raffle tickets on a black and white TV. I remember the body counts, Vietnam, Watts, AIDS, school shootings, Iraq and Afghanistan, opioids. And I see police kneeling on the necks of the powerless. I bear witness to lakes drying up and forests ablaze, to glaciers retreating and high tides stealing the shoreline. Thick smoke between us and whatever still shines in the night sky. I tally the lopsided score of coronavirus versus fools. And unable to sleep, I weep with Jack. A Christmas poem. Fatherless Christmas, our Father who art in Afghanistan, intestate, in debt, in foreclosure, in vitro, in excelsius, in pain, in utero, in traffic, in a manger, in the desert, in terra incognito, in prison, in heaven or hell, but not here, no longer here is visible. His chair at the table empty, his box under the Christmas tree empty, his promises, those he intended to keep and others empty. I overheard a man describing his life to his companion, splitting a few 40s in the alley behind my office. It's like a stale white bread sandwich with nothing between the slices, man. Nothing between the ears, nothing between the sheets, nothing between the sun and the moon, nothing between here and nowhere, nothing, nothing, nothing except two jealous cats that love having their soft bellies rubbed. A small fig tree with fruit ripening for the first time in a race against an early freeze. A granddaughter who laughs with delight even when you arrive empty-handed and leaps to fill your arms. Grandson who imagine life in terms of gridiron yardage game, or soon even driving from here to there, still in a world with destinations, a world without any nowhere. A friend who grows tomatoes, more tomatoes than he knows what to do with, discovers he loves to make fresh soup for his neighbors. The man at the intersection with a cardboard sign that now reads, "Everything helps, God bless." In spring, it reads, "Jesus saves," responds brightly to any gift, like a thin and bearded happy face. Have a nice day, Inshallah. And all the gods that stand between here and nowhere meet somewhere to ask, what shall we name this perfect day? And I'm going to end with a love poem. The weight of love. You complain about weight, asking, do these jeans make me look fat? Depends where you stand when you ask. At a distance, you appear fat, or fatter than when we wake up beside each other to snuggle and you say my name softly. If you leap up without a kiss or a word, or the first thing you say is, I miss our kitty, I hope he comes home soon, you gain at least 5 pounds each step from our lonely bed. By the time I have my coffee, you're lost in a shower. It's too loud to say anything through the bathroom door without shouting, and I have no desire to raise my voice. Halfway to work, I imagine you sloshing in the tub, a blue whale fat enough to cause me heart disease. Oh. And yet, what do I know about love? When we lie together in bed, holding and unhurried, you and I, we fit perfectly. Thank you all.